most heterosexual people in this country and around the world meet each other and get together with one another when they're totally drunk. Smashed out of their minds, they could not spell their own face. And they go home with that person. You might spend months with that person, or a year, or you might have a family. This is what happens. This is how you meet. But you wouldn't buy a toaster when you're drunk. Because that's too important. It's got to be crispy in just the right way, hasn't it? I think that's why you see couples sitting with their new babies outside cafes and so on, drinking tea, looking at one another, looking to the pram, looking into the middle distance and back to one another, because they're thinking, oh, where the fuck happened? I just thought we were going to have a few drinks. Who's this guy? And love is incredibly mysterious, as you know. And it's still the thing that troubles most people for a lot of their lives until they work it out, and which you may do eventually. You hear the conversations in the restaurants, the lovers speaking to one another, and it never really changes. People compete with one another as they're telling each other that they love each other. I love you. I love you. Yeah, but I really love you. I mean, I love you. I love pencils you have sucked and thrown away 20 years ago. I love your eyebrows and your ancestry and everything about you. Just eat your food and let me love you. Don't speak. And they don't know, of course, at the time that dialogue is just from a very bad science fiction film written by nature. Really what they're saying to one another is, the race must continue. The race must continue. My vidudium is pointing at your trinungulator. The race must continue. And if they don't handle it properly, you see them 40 years later, the same people in the same restaurant, if you have the time. You go there and you see them and they communicate in a different way now, in middle age. In some cultures it's called silence. Unless I'm missing something and they're saying a lot with the fork hitting the plate. And if their eyes do meet this time, it's not intimacy, it's embarrassment. The man makes that noise as he chumps his chop. In his throat, a kind of horrible sound, this sounds like a Balkan curse. And the woman has her own noise of disquiet there. She's spearing her salad, like a, sounds like a dove having a dump. And then they go home to the bed they've sheared. When you shear a bed, it's a difficult process. When you go home, I had a couple of drinks and the bed's all woolly. And you have to get the clippers out. Here we go again. Don't move. And when they've sheared the bed, they share it. And they get in. And they have real intimacy, which it takes years to achieve. You're not going to get it with somebody you don't know very well. Not that there really is such a thing as casual sex. What is that? What is that supposed to be? It's never really casual. You always have to turn up. And it's never casual unless you're both wearing Sherlock Holmes hats or something and you're covered in crisps. One of you's eating an omelette, the other one's doing a crossword. Then it's kind of casual. I'm talking about real intimacy, where people don't mess around with all that manipulating the phrase, I love you. People, you get this all the time. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Bake me a cake or go away. Children can master those 3 words. What do you want for breakfast, darling? I want sugar, fried in honey. No, you're having fruit, bread, wholesome things like that. I love you, Daddy. I love you too. Sugar, you say. I'll be right back. So these people talking in the restaurant, maybe about what they don't really understand, we'll find out later with everything that happens to them. And when they go to bed at night, years and years later, they do achieve a kind of real intimacy, where you have to know somebody very well to be able to say, I hate the way you breathe. Why do you breathe like that? It sounds like it's coming through your fucking forehead. I haven't slept in 35 years. Do you have any idea how fat you actually are? Do you have any fucking idea? No, you don't, do you? Because your little face is an island trapped in a sea of flab. love you to death, but I can't afford to take the 2 weeks off work.